All right, that's it for the second neighbor witness, and we've been calling them eyewitnesses, but they didn't see the stab, so they're more like before and after witnesses. Let's bring in trial attorneys, two fantastic trial attorneys in California. We've got Adanté Pointer and Lateef Gray both with us. Let's talk about how the defense is using these state witnesses to their advantage. Adanté, they were able to get this witness to confirm that Colin looked like an emotional wreck and had red on his arms like he'd been grabbed.
Absolutely. The defense is doing a good job trying to turn the witnesses and get the nuggets of information that they think will help build their case towards reasonable doubt and or acquittal. And so that's what the defense is tasked with doing. However, seeing him as an emotional wreck and understanding that he had a hand in killing his mother, although he says it's self-defense, and that he had some type of redness about his arms, can also be used for the prosecution to say, yeah, he was an emotional wreck. He just dragged his mother in the house and stabbed her to death. That in and of itself doesn't mean that it was self-defense or that he should walk free. That may just be more proof that he understood the magnitude of what he had just done.
Lateef, what do you think about the strength of these witnesses who didn't see enough to cause them alarm? They didn't call 911, but you did hear this last witness say that the mother looked angry when she arrived there at the house and she was throwing clothes into a car, which the defense says was her trying to force her son to leave his grandmother's house to come back and live with her.
Yeah, so from the defense's perspective with these prosecution witnesses, the goal is to minimize the harm of their testimony. So the fact that he was emotional, the fact that he had been grabbed, those are all good facts for the defense. However, we still have a dead body here, and we still have his mother as the victim, and we also have the fact that this is not his first murder, if you will. So as a defense attorney, you try to minimize these prosecution witnesses' damage as much as possible, but you also understand that there is a dead body involved.
Certainly the case. And here's something that may tell us a lot. We do have to get to a break, but coming up on the other side of it, the 911 call that the defendant made after his mother was bleeding out inside of his grandmother's house. And he asked the court in real time to not be inside of the courtroom for this. So the jury is going to see an empty defense table in terms of the defendant's seat. That's after this. All right, the end of the 911 call there. Emotional, heart-wrenching to think about someone losing their life. Let's bring back in our trial attorneys standing by, Adanté Pointer and Lateef Gray. Lateef, he opted not to be in the courtroom for that. It's unusual, but his attorneys agreed with it. Your thoughts?
Well, I think they agreed with it because the thought is this is too emotional for him to sit through and hear, given that he lived through it and the fact that it is his mother who's deceased now because of his actions, so, or allegedly because of his actions. So I understand him not wanting to see and hear it. I've never seen it done like this, but I understand where he's coming from with this.
The only time I've seen something very dissimilar in terms of the case, but in the ski crash civil trial involving Gwyneth Paltrow, the plaintiff opted not to be in the courtroom for much of the evidence, said that it would disturb him too much to hear all of it. Adanté Pointer, can you speak to self-defense or murder? Does this 911 call move the needle at all, one way or the other?
I think the 911 call does move the needle in some ways, and especially the way in which it was presented during the course of this jury trial. The defendant, the teenage son of the mother who is dead, left the room. And I can only imagine the jury saying, yes, maybe it is so emotional that he didn't want to hear it because he lived through it. But also at the same time, if he doesn't have an emotion and then we see him on the screen walking back in and he looks unmoved, you've heard this 911 call. You know what you did, and yet you look just as stoic as his attorney listening to that tape. And I've been that attorney where something is not favorable to you. You're trying everything not to show emotion or to show fear or to show concern. But that doesn't go to the defendant's video, to the defendant's credit. So I think it's very devastating.
Adanté Pointer and Lateef Gray, thank you for your analysis on this one. This is a complicated one, complicated for this jury. We've got more testimony in it after this quick break. Plus, we'll get you an update on the Natalie Cochran case where she was found guilty of first-degree murder. Kelly Craft is next.